welcome everybody to the Magic Beans podcast. We are back again for episode number 22. I'm your host and my name is Shorty and I'm joined again by a couple of beans. On the line tonight I have Chewy. How you going, Chew?
Good, mate. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I'm surviving without the corona, so I'm still alive. I'm doing well.
We also have up there in the hills. Yeah.
We also have Cracker. How you going, Cracker?
I'm good, mate. I'm good.
Yeah, very good. We won't go into it, but we were having a nice discussion before the podcast about corona and
just wash your hands,
all the joys that Chewy's having with his job in the medical industry. So, yeah, I think the key is wash your hands. It's a PSA from the beans for everybody.
It's not that hard.
No. All right, so we have, as usual, a jam-packed episode for everybody out there that's listening. As we mentioned on the previous cast, Chewy and I were going off to a PTQ, and my intention was to fulfill the challenge that Chewy set for me at the start of the year and top 8 this thing. So, yeah, I did that.
Don't hold us in suspense.
Yeah?
You did you? You mean you attended?
I attended, yeah. Okay. I went to a PTQ, yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, next topic. Yep.
Yeah, perfect. All right.
Yeah.
And I believe Chewy was in attendance as well.
What else do we have to talk about tonight?
Yeah.
So you guys played Standard, right?
Yeah, so there was 68 players for the Saturday Standard event, which Chewy and I both went to, which was a little bit smaller than I was expecting, actually.
To be fair, there were 66 players plus Shorty and I.
Yeah, that's probably more accurate.
Yeah, it was small.
Yeah. Well, the last one we had there was a I don't know what it was called.
WPNQ, whatever it was. The modern event.
Like that.
Yeah.
But it was, like the event was well over 100 people, and it was like the hall that was held in was pretty much packed.
It also wasn't
on
a long weekend either.
Yeah, and that's something we discussed while we were there, is the people that were running it. So it was run by Good Games, who what's his name? I've just drawn a blank on his name. Glenn Doyle.
Yep.
The guy who works for Good Games that runs all their major events, and I'm assuming he runs a store or something like that as well.
Does a great job.
Yeah, does a good job, but being from Sydney, there was a public holiday that was a Victorian only. It might have been a Tassie as well, but mainly it was a Victorian public holiday on the Monday. So we had the long weekend down here, and I'm wondering if they didn't realise that when they booked it being from Sydney. So that may have played into it a bit, but something for them to think about for future events. Double check the public holidays in the states that you're going to.
Yeah, there may have been some people that stayed at home because of the aforementioned virus that's going around as well. So
yeah, there's that as well. So
bit of a double whammy.
Also, the last time we were there, I got to play Hogak. So I think that's mostly why people weren't there anymore, because that wondrous mode, that glorious modern format that existed for about 13 and a half seconds.
Just long enough for our one PTQ that we get. Yeah.
Like I said, 68 players for Standard. And Chewy and I participated. The Sunday was also modern, which had a larger turnout. There's 96 people for that, but we only played on the Saturday.
Congratulations to Isaac Egan for taking down the event.
Yep, a friend of the podcast that Chewy and I have known for a very long time.
Very, very long time.
And definitely a staple in the Melbourne tournament scene, or probably really the Australian tournament scene. Not surprising that he won the event.
I did see on social media, he said that it had been 7 years since he'd made it to a Pro Tour, which he made it seem like a really long time, but I wish I could make a Pro Tour every 7 years.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
not bad.
Yeah, that's actually surprising from Isaac. He's definitely a player that's always making top 8s of most events that he goes to.
Well, in the last 7 years, Isaac has completed uni and such. He went back to school and got married and all the rest of it. So he's had a little bit on. We'll give him a pass on only making Pro Tours every 7 years, just this once.
Also tricky because the size of the events we have here, you have to win, right? There's no first and second get invites. It's wins only for these kind of events. Whereas some of the bigger ones in the States, top 4 can get through sometimes and things like that. So
yeah. We also don't have the volume of events that you get in the States.
Yeah, you can't just string 3 or 4 weekends in a row of PTQs and hope to spike one. You've got to wait till it rocks around and yeah.
I mean, the reality is for us, even if we could string together 3 or 4 PTQs in a row, we wouldn't be able to do it. There's no way we'd be getting away with that with our families and all the other commitments we have in our lives. So.
And our play skill.
Well, yeah, I mean, we could play 3 or 4 PTQs in a row and still wouldn't make any difference. So.
I mean, I reckon with 3 or 4 PTQs in a row, I could string together enough wins to make a top 8.
If you combine them all together.
4 events.
Yeah, that could work. Yeah.
We're really doing a great job of selling to our listeners why they should continue listening to our podcast.
Well, as we ran into another old school Melbourne Magic player, Tom. He should be listening to this because I gave him a Magic Beans pen to remind him. G'day, Tom. So he was like, "Come on, guys, you've got a podcast. You didn't make top 8." And I made the top 8 of the last 2 events that I went to, and I'm like
humble brags.
I'm like, Magic's a great game. I love this thing. It's really good. It's really fun. But the saying that you are only as good as your last result is so true. Like I came crashing down to earth in a big way last Saturday. So from top 8 to dropping partway through the tournament because my results were, amongst other things, were not great. So I you can go, oh, those previous finishes were in the past, and this one's happening now. So yeah, you can't draw on them. You don't get any extra credits just because you did well, a couple of weeks ago, do you? That's a harsh game, this one.
Sadly, no. So what did you play, Chewy? You were on the Jeskai Fires,
yeah,
right?
Jeskai Fires, and the room, what do you reckon, Shorty? 20-25% mono red as a guess? I saw a lot.
I wouldn't say that much.
I saw so much.
Yeah, I actually think it was pretty diverse.
Okay.
I would not have said 25% for mono red. I'd say maybe 15, 20 at the most. But
because every round I played 4 of the 7 rounds, and every table next to me had a mono red player, if not a mono red mirror. So maybe it was just my perception was skewed by my perspective, being the players that I saw around me. So. But yeah, there was.
I don't think it did very well. There was no mono red in the top 8.
Luke Mulcahy finished 9th with mono red.
Yep.
I think
that's probably more his play skill than the deck.
Yeah, potentially. And Experimental Frenzy, which I don't think anybody else was playing.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, tech, old school tech, if you want to think about it as old school. But yeah, so I played Jeskai Fires, the same deck that I've been streaming and putting videos up on and playing in our league. Running 2 of God Eternal Laketra, and I made a lot of mistakes. Some of them I can put down to lack of sleep. I'm not going to make an excuse, but
you spend all day making excuses.
Well after, at least I had them. I didn't just shock myself for no reason with my stomping around. Yeah. My kid didn't go to sleep until after midnight and then woke up every hour thereafter. So I didn't get off. My day didn't get off to a great start. And then, I found myself making horrible mistakes. I think I tilted, honestly. I think I can make mistakes and you can move on, but I wasn't in a good space to be able to give myself the proverbial kick in the pants and move on. So I decided to just cut my losses and drop from the event and just sort of kick around and chat to people. So that was pretty much it.
Watch me make mistakes.
Yeah, just watch Shorty make mistakes. So
nothing better than just being able to perch on your mate's shoulder and just go.
Oh, this game's so easy when you're a spectator, right?
Isn't it? That's why I'm so good in chat.
Exactly. So yeah, I made some obvious play mistakes. I made land sequencing mistakes. I made sideboarding mistakes. I made which creature do I kill with my removal mistakes. So I just went, this is not my day. I'm too tired. I'm not in the right space. So yeah, I just packed it up. So after 4 rounds, so I eked out 1 win out of those 4 rounds. So I was well and truly done at that point.
As sweet as it is to crush I imagine, having never done it in a tournament. Like, as nice as it is to, like, chain a bunch of wins together, it is important to remember that it is a game. And if you're just miserable doing it, then why?
Yeah, just stop. Right? Exactly right.
Like, just why? Like, if all you're doing is getting more and more frustrated, and, like, I find this with Arena and trying to, like, just go, I just need to get to, like, the next level, the next badge, whatever I'm trying to get for, right? And just sitting there going, I'm just mad. Like, I'm just sitting here angry at my computer and angry at the game. I'm like, why am I doing this? This is just, like, this is not the point of what I want to be doing. So you just have to step away. So, yeah, sad that you didn't kind of get the result you're looking for, but hey, there's always next time.
Yeah.
So what about you, Shorty? I know you stuck it out for a bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, normally I'm pretty good at not tilting, even if I'm losing. Generally, for me, it's if I've paid to play in a tournament and I've got no pressing reasons to not be playing, I'll just keep playing out even if I'm losing. So I ended up playing all 7 rounds and topped out with an awesome record of 2-5.
Okay.
But, as Chewy alluded to, I made some pretty boneheaded mistakes.
So what's this stomping ground? Because
I had a turn where I just, like, completely miscalculated my mana and shocked in a stomping ground, and then went, like, after I'd cast my spells, I went, I didn't actually need to put that in, or something happened and I didn't use the mana. I just shocked it in for no reason. It was a bit dumb.
And did you lose the game by exactly 2 life?
I don't even know which round it was. To be honest.
Fair enough.
No, I think you actually won that game from memory. You won that game, but I think you lost game 3.
Yeah, it might have been against the mono red, maybe. Yeah, so I had a really boneheaded mistake against mono red where I looked at the board and looked at what I had and my opponent had and went, oh yeah, I can just attack for lethal, and attacked, and then my opponent blocked in a different way to what I thought, and I went, now I'm just dead. And so I mean that was the last round of the day, and we're kind of having a bit of fun just playing me and the opponent, and yeah, I definitely was not playing optimal by that point, and was probably a little bit distracted, and made a dumb mistake. But
your opponent was a very happy, like he was having a good time, like he was he was enjoying himself. You know, he drew his 3rd land off the top of his deck in a row, and found that quite amusing. And I think it was in game 1 you drew 3 of your Thrashing Bronchodons against his army of, like smaller creatures. And
his multiple Ember Cleaves in hand.
Yeah. And, he saw the humour in that. So,
it was a good game. It was just frustrating. And it just goes to show, like, that's what separates someone like me, who's a reasonable Magic player when I'm actually playing properly.
Yeah.
But then a lot of the time I'm not, from the people that play, like, in the MPL and those sorts of people. They just don't make those mistakes, and that's why they win, and that's why they're so good. It's every game, it's the same. There's never those stupid boneheaded mistakes that cost you that game, which means you lose the round, and that, puts you out of the tournament, that sort of stuff. So
sometimes people attack before they activate their Hazoret. So it does happen.
Yeah, but I mean that wasn't an MPL player, or he was just a guy that
just playing for a win and in at a pro tour. But
still a good player. But hey, I mean, if you can make it to a pro tour, like, come on.
I know, right? I know.
Yeah,
better lucky than good sometimes.
Results aside, how are you happy with the individual card choices? I guess we know that you were both pretty locked in on both, Jund Cat and with your fires, but then there are a few additional sideboard slots and things. Shorty, I know you were sort of working out some of the numbers. Do you feel like you picked the right cards? You pegged the metagame for what was actually there, despite the fact that you maybe, punted some games and, got some bad draws or whatever?
Yeah, I was happy with my choice, and a Jund Sacrifice deck and a Rakdos Sacrifice deck both made top 8, but I made my choice based on having a good Teamer Adventure matchup and a pretty decent mono red and blue white control matchup, and I proceeded to lose all of my matches against those, those decks.
Oh dear.
Basically, mainly just because of dumb mistakes, or just either flooding out or getting mana screwed.
Yeah, not drawing one of your colours.
Yeah, I didn't lose. I lost to blue white. We had a game one that went for 40 minutes, and then and he won, and then we just couldn't finish the second game to make it a draw. But every other round, I either won. The rounds that I won 2-0, and the rounds that I lost 2-1. So I was definitely in it.
So you're in it all the way. Okay.
Yeah, in it all the way, and all it would take is those couple of different decisions, playing a little bit better, or just that tiny little bit of luck sometimes. And
sometimes it's your day.
Totally different.
Like in the last round, that's obviously the one that's in the forefront of my mind because it's the most recent. If you'd just drawn a stomping ground, you would have won that game, I think, quite handily. But, you had 4 or 5 red cards in your hand, and, you'd mulliganed. Your only red source was your goose, and he stomped it, and, the game that went then for another 6 or 7 turns, and you didn't find a red source. But on any other day, you could have drawn a mountain.
I had 6 lands on the battlefield and 0 red sources.
Yeah, I had a game where I didn't draw a blue source. I mulliganed to 5, kept a 2 scry land and a plains hand, a 2 blue, red white. It had a fires in it and something else, and I just drew runner to fairies. And ended up with 6 lands, a hard cast of Red Cavalier, but it's these 4 blue cards in my hand would be really handy to be able to cast right now after my fires got, what's the Agonizing Remorse? Is that the card? Yeah. Got hit by that.
That's the one.
Yeah.
So, sometimes it just happens. That's the variance in Magic, and it just happens sometimes. So, not much you can do about it. But when you're also making stupid mistakes, that's definitely something that's within your control. And I know we've sort of mentioned on this podcast, and we've spoken about it off air, is your Magic fitness. So your ability to stay mentally focused for a long, solid day of playing Magic it's a real thing. That's something that really comes with practice and with playing a lot. And for guys like us that don't get to play long tournaments very often, we don't have that fitness level. That's sort of what it comes down to.
And we're old.
Yeah, we're old. Our brains don't work
Happy
properly.
Happy birthday to Shorty, by the way.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Yeah, that happened. Yeah. You didn't invite us over for 10 hours of Magic and spicy chicken wings, I noticed, but...
Just rude.
Yeah. Should we run through the top 8 decks that did, obviously performed a lot better than us on that day?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, Isaac took down the event with Bant Ramp. He was one of 2 Bant decks. So that's if you've been, on Arena at all in the last couple of weeks, you would have seen it. Nisses and Dream Trawlers and or just basically all the good cards in those colours jammed together. A Rakdos Sack and a Jun Sack deck, as Shorty described, and 1 blue-white control, 2 Team of Rec. Was it 2 Team of Clover or Team of Reclamation?
No, they were Team of Rec decks.
Yeah, right. Okay, so no Clover made top 8.
No.
And then topping out the Swiss was my round 1 opponent, which was a Jai, who gave the podcast a follow after our game 3. So shout out to Jai, well done for topping the Swiss. Drove down from Mildura, which is a 4-hour drive from Melbourne, just rocked up and casually topped the Swiss with Gruul aggro. So or Gruul Adventures type list. He got there in game 3 because Emcleave is a Magic card apparently.
Got to believe in it, man.
Yeah, believe. Yeah, I did walk into it a little bit. It was one of my mistakes for the day. One of the many.
How? It's a giant sword.
No. I could have.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I put my Kenrith in front of a creature when I shouldn't have, and yeah. So anyway, deck performed really well. Top the Swiss. Unfortunately, bowed out in the top 8, but played the deck really well. And I've actually been playing the deck a little bit on Arena because it sort of piqued my interest. And I think it's real, right? I think there's all this talk of Team of Clover and everything, but this is just so proactive. Domri's ambush is quite well positioned because there's just creatures everywhere, and it's got a decent matchup against blue-white. It's bigger than a lot of the other creature decks. It's bigger than Deafening Clarion, and that was basically how I lost. Is all these 4-power creatures, and I've got Clarions in my hand, and they're useless. So, the Gruul Adventures deck might be something that if you're looking to jump into some best of one and win some gold, give that one a look up and see how you go.
Well, speaking of playing Standard on Arena, our league kicked off after the last podcast. And it's safe to say it's doing really well. I know we've all participated in some matches on there.
It's great.
One of us more than the rest of us. Cracker, you've played the most matches out of anybody so far. You've hit 7 matches in the league.
It's just been great. Like, I jump on when I feel like it and just go, in our Discord and say, hey, anyone up for a game? Or someone will be on there and, have asked a question. You just go, yeah, let's go. Just hop in. I must say, I know Scott, we miss you, buddy, was banging on about the friends list and how great it was going to be. And I was like, is it though? It's really good. I've really enjoyed being able to just direct challenge. Chewy and I eventually figured out it took us 6 goes. I think we played 2 best of ones before we actually got to our real game, but it's fine. But yeah, it's been really good. I've had a lot of fun. I've been running. Do I give away my secrets? Tech?
No, your secret tech.
You can change whatever.
No, I can't change.
You don't have the wildcards.
No, I don't have the wildcards. I've been playing Green White Auras. So, the Paradise Druid with Sentinel's Eyes wombo combo to give it vigilance and hexproof. And the deck can. It's a Boggles deck, right? So when it goes off, it just goes off. I think I just 20 Chewy in a single turn at one point, out of nowhere. You just can, give your auras discounts, and then you can draw cards, and sometimes you'll draw 2 or 3 cards from a single aura being played on one of your creatures. So it's a lot of fun. It's quite one-dimensional. You're trying to suit up a singular creature and, have it live. The games, I'm 4-3 at the moment, so I'm ahead. I was batting 50%.
You are on top of the ladder.
I've played more than anyone, so I guess that's going to happen. So my next opponent, I've been batting 50%, so you're probably due for a win if you want to challenge me shortly. You'll probably pick up the next one. But the losses I've had so far have all been to Flyers decks.
Yeah, right.
So I played Chewy.
I guess the sweepers are a bit hard.
Teferi is the problem, because you've got Karametra's Blessing, which can give you your creature indestructible, but you can't beat Teferi and then instant speed Shatter the Sky is basically what it is. I really, 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 really hate Teferi. The fact that it's a static is what annoys me so much. I can't... ignoring my deck specifically, the fact that you play Teferi, you bounce probably the person's only threat, particularly if you're on the play, right? Teferi goes down. Well, unless you've got a haste creature, which mono red does, but sure, nothing else does, right? Then Teferi sticks around, and then the next turn they can just plus and then shatter at instant speed, and it's just your game is over.
Yeah.
If they put you can only cast spells as sorceries on the plus ability, that would be okay, right? I think that would make it a little more balanced. But the fact that it's just permanently, so it bounces your dude and you can't do anything, it's just, it's gross. I hate it. Anyway.
I think Teferi's completely overpowered,
Yeah,
and that's why I have 4 of him in my deck. Yeah. So.
Yes, it is a very powerful magic card, and I think it will be a long time before we see static abilities on Planeswalkers again. Cause
really? You don't think they're going to print it in the next Teferi set in like 3 months' time?
I hope not.
Don't worry, 2021.
You've brought up Teferi in the Teferi set almost as often as I brought up KCI.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, it's just that the last two fairies have been completely format warping.
They have.
You did say two fairies?
Like, yeah. And
3 fairy.
I don't love playing against blue-white control, but
right, yeah.
That's just a personal thing.
No, I think it's, I think the card has done really well to dodge bans. I think there were some other 3-mana Planeswalkers that probably took a little bit of the limelight and attracted a ban, but yeah, it's a very powerful magic card. The league, how many matches have been played in total?
So we've had 16 matches played so far, and which of nearly half of them are cracker, so good on him. But
so lift your game, everyone. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, like last weekend, most of us, or pretty much all the members of the podcast, were away for the weekend, as well as other people being away for the weekend with the long weekend in Victoria, so that certainly slowed things up a bit. But I'm tipping this weekend there'll be quite a few matches getting played. Obviously tonight, it's Thursday night for us, so none of us are playing matches tonight. We're all recording the podcast, but yeah, if you still want to join in, if you've just found the podcast or you're just getting around to hearing about this league, we're still happy for people to jump in to the league. We're just running it as a round robin style, so everybody plays everybody. So that means you could literally jump in on the last week that we're doing this and play all your matches if you want. That's fine by us. We're just happy for people to be on there and having a chat and making friends and just playing Magic. So
how many entrants do we have? How many players?
I think we have 17, maybe
17. Yep.
Yeah,
okay.
Something like that. Somewhere between 15 and 17. I don't have the sheet in front of me, so. But yeah, don't forget there are booster prizes. So yeah, it's free to enter. Just join up on our Discord, which you'll find the links on our show notes and on our Twitter and all that sort of stuff. And then just post in the league channel and we'll put you in and just start challenging people and playing some games. So we'll be doing the round robin up until about the end of March. I'll post an official date as we sort of get closer to it, and then we will cut to top 4 to work out who gets the prizes. So
awesome. And as always, I'll record all of my matches and I'll put them up on our YouTube channel once they're all done. So you'll be able to, I'll play everybody once, so you'll be able to find out, skip along and find out when you played me and watch your match back, which is always entertaining.
Yep. So, Cracker, your deck that you were playing, obviously you were a bit apprehensive about giving out what you're playing, but I assume you don't actually care.
No, I wasn't really. No.
If you share your list with me, I'll put it in the show notes. So anyone who wants to give that deck a go, I've fiddled around with that deck myself, and it's good fun. I don't think it uses too many wild cards as well, so it's probably just a mana base, but...
Yeah, so I'm running a couple of guild gates because I didn't have a couple of temples.
Yep.
I finally got a few more rare wild cards, so I now have 4 temple gardens.
Yep.
Because the tap lanes were pretty annoying.
And
there are a couple of other things
deck.
Yeah, a couple of other things that, like I've got a couple of Gideon Black Blades and things like that. But you don't
cards are beating, man.
That card it does some work. Yeah,
oh yeah,
it's a lot of fun. So it's like mostly some lists I've seen on, different places online, but then, as I've played it, I've tweaked it and changed things around and put things in and taken stuff out. So it's kind of my own take on the build. It's been a lot of fun.
Cool.
But the thing I've enjoyed the most about this whole league so far is just chatting with all the opponents on Discord afterwards, right? Because you can just you direct message people kind of, good game and good luck and all that sort of stuff. But I've managed to have, some pretty good chats with all of my opponents afterwards. It's sweet to just find out where people are from and get to know them and stuff. It's been really nice.
Well, as of, I assume tonight, we will actually get the update where you'll be able to direct message in Arena now.
Oh, sweet.
So you can only do it to people on your friends list, but if you're playing against someone on your friends list, you can now, or you should be able to, as of tonight, actually chat with them through Arena. So Scott will be really happy about that if he ever gets back on Arena.
We miss you, Scott.
Yes, we certainly do.
I'm not missing you in this because I think I'd get absolutely wrecked by a Cavalcade deck. So, you can stay away until the league is finished and then you can come back.
Yeah. Shorty, you mentioned the update to Arena with the friends list. Is that when we'll get the update to the banned and restricted list as well with that same update?
Yeah, I would assume so. Yep. So, yeah, what Chewy's talking about there is, I don't know if we mentioned it. No, I don't think we did on the previous podcast because it hadn't been announced yet. But
no, it hadn't.
Wizards did their announcement of an announcement and said that on the 9th of March they were going to do another banned and restricted announcement. So it was a nice birthday present for me. And, there was actually quite a few cards on this ban list. Cracker, have you got the list open there? Do you want to...
I do.
You want to take us through?
Yeah, bunch of formats. So Brawl, Golos, the Tireless Pilgrim is banned. In Historic, in Historic, they were testing out a new structure where they would actually suspend cards for a while and basically just temporarily move them from the format and say, hey, are things better or worse now with these cards gone?
So they get a number of time counters on them and you remove one.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Unfortunately, then Teferi's in play and you can't cast things at instant speed during your upkeep, so the spell is just immediately countered.
Oh, right.
So...
Can't even Veil of Summer in response.
No. So in Historic, there were a few cards. There were 4 cards they put onto the suspended list. So one was Oko, one was Once Upon a Time, and Veil of Summer, and they have all been banned. They just decided that, hey, we don't actually need these cards. Unsurprising, they've all been banned in multiple other formats, as we'll get to in a second. And they moved Field of the Dead off the suspended list and is now legal again. So you can play that again in Historic. In Legacy, Underworld Breach was banned.
Surprise.
And in Modern, well, kind of was. And in Modern, Once Upon a Time is banned.
I think that one's the biggest surprise for me, and the biggest surprise is that I thought it was already banned. I just assumed that when all the other cards, the stupid cards, like Veil of Summer, I just found out is still legal in Modern. I just assumed that Oko and Once Upon a Time and Veil of Summer, they all just got the ban all at the same time. But no, you'd think I'd know these things being on a Magic podcast.
Well, it just shows that you haven't played that format for a while, right?
Yeah, I certainly have not played Modern for a while.
So Once Upon a Time was played in a number of decks. Eldrazi Tron, which is a deck I'm really familiar with, had moved to... adding a single forest into its mana base, which you could find with an expedition map. But yeah, just banking on having one in the opening hand. But the big one was really the Primeval Titan decks, right? It's they've been dominating Modern, both online and in paper. They've been the most popular deck and also putting up really, really good results. So, playing 6-mana 6/6 creatures is something that Wizards wants us to do. That's why they keep printing that dinosaur. But so they're not going to...
Colossal Dreadmaw.
That's the one. They're not going to ban the Titan. It's too much of an iconic card. But so I think they're happy for that archetype to be around. It's cool. It does some things with that new 2/4 guy that makes all your lands mountains.
Dryad of Elysian Grove.
That's the one. But yeah, just toning it down a bit with not being able to find those key pieces as reliably is, I think, a good move.
Yeah, it's that consistency. That's the issue. Is Once Upon a Time just provides, and like we saw it, like when we first started this podcast and we were playing that card in Standard, it was like, all right, well, I can keep a hand that's got no lands, but I've got a Once Upon a Time and a Gilded Goose because I'm going to cast my Once Upon a Time for free on turn 1, find my land, and then cast my Gilded Goose. So
yeah, exactly. So it's it's a totally fine card to cast for 2 mana in Standard as well, and passable in Modern. So it's I'm not surprised to see it go, but I think when I'm looking at the announcement though, I think my page isn't loading properly because I'm not seeing any of the dredge card draw spells banned in Pioneer. So is something not refreshing? What's going on there? No,
Yeah, I don't know.
no, yeah, no,
no bans in Pioneer, which
they didn't ban
probably
dig
the
through
most.
time. Okay,
They did not ban dig through time, despite everyone predicting that would be the case. And Chris was almightily relieved that Underworld Breach was only banned in Legacy. I think he quickly passed the page and went, "Oh no, Breach is banned," and then saw it was Legacy, and he kind of breathed a giant sigh of relief because he just put that deck together. And he has been known to give what's the reverse of the Midas Touch? Like he just curses decks when he builds them,
or whatever. Yeah,
Kiss of Death. Yeah, that's exactly what he gives it. Yeah. So I think Polywaffle's pretty happy that he gets to do some more of those shenanigans in Pioneer for a little while longer.
Lotus breaching.
They did a bit of a write up, like they mentioned Pioneer in their article for the banning, and it was actually the thing that they talked about the most out of the whole banning, because there was so much speculation about what was going to happen. And they've quoted some match win percentages and things like that of the Mirror Inverter, and that they're happy with how things are sitting at the moment. And yeah, I mean, they're the ones with all the data, so at the end of the day, it's...
You can't... Yeah, 2 weeks data of Magic Online. 2 weeks of league data. Not fact, that's a cherry-picked stat, that one, if ever I've seen one.
It's definitely a cherry-picked stat. And, I mean, if you look at actual tabletop tournaments and the top 8s from the last month, they're just heavily dominated by Demir Inverter, so...
That's a tricky stat, right? Because you look at those ones, just to pick apart and be devil's advocate for a second. Those are mostly been SCG events. A bunch of those have been team ones as well. And the thing with the SCG circuit is they are the most entrenched players in the game at the moment, I'd suggest. They have a really dedicated core group of players, and they have a lot of availability to cards, and they also tend to be the best players on the circuits. So if you look...
They heavily metagame as well.
They absolutely do. So you look at those, and, like Shorty and I both listen to a couple of podcasts from people who are from Team Lotus Box and stuff, so they're very, very high up in the, the rankings of where the players sit in that circle, and, they talk about this kind of stuff. So it's interesting, but... there's a lot of play skill involved in that, and I think that's where some of the percentages come from. So there's got to be a mix. And look, if Wizards decide for a bit that they're happy to have a 2-card combo deck, destroy, in quotes, a format for a couple of months, then, all right, sure, let's see if we can come up with a way to beat it or deal with it. Or if not, then let it run its course, and eventually they'll have to do something. So, I don't know.
Yeah, they said they'll look at it again after the... I'm paraphrasing them here. There'll be no bans until after the Players Tour, right? So, there's
a couple of Pioneer major events coming up in the next month or two. So, I guess they just want to leave it as is and see how it goes. And if it's if they play the next PTs and they're just as bad, then they just deal with it then. So. It's not really going to affect anybody too much, and Pioneer's still a super diverse format, and you can still play a bunch of different things. So, I would have liked to have seen Dig go, because I think it's just going to, long term, it's going to have to go. It's banned in basically every single format because it's just so powerful. But I'm fine with their decision, and I mean,
just reckon rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah. We don't see their data, and they might have cherry picked the 49% non-mirror match win rate over the last 2 weeks, that sort of thing, just to have a good low stat. But I don't know how many matches that's of. It's obvious that would be way more matches than gets played over a month's worth of SCG tournaments. So they've got the data there, and they can use the data to support whatever they want, really. Yeah. Isn't that how it goes when you make the news and you spin it how you want it to sound?
Pretty much.
I rip it anyway. Yeah.
I don't know that reference, so sure, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. Rupert Murdoch owns Fox News.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, Underworld Breach in Legacy, do you guys know why that's been banned?
Yes.
Yep. Lion's Eye Diamond,
yes.
And...
because it's broken.
What's the other card that goes with it?
Auriox Salvages?
No, there's a 1 and a blue instant that mills you for 3 with Storm.
Brain Freeze.
Brain freeze. That's the one. I was looking at it today.
Yeah. So basically,
brain
the
freeze,
is,
lines eye diamond, underworld breach, and mill your whole deck.
Yeah. Well, no, you don't. You mill most of your deck and then mill your opponent.
Yeah.
Is the common way. It's interesting. I've heard a few people talking about this and there was potential for turn 1 wins. So I get it. That's kind of nuts. But at the same time, the format has force of will, force of negation, duress, Thoughtseize. There's all of the hand disruption in the world. So they banned
but the combo deck gets to play that too, right?
Yeah, that's the issue.
Well, it does, but they also gave it basically no time at all. The deck wasn't even discovered until probably only within the last month. So it's interesting that they've moved this aggressively, and maybe they just realised that cheaper Yawgmoth's Will that doesn't exile cards is a really stupid idea, and they should never have done that.
Who would have thought?
But I don't know. Whatever. I mean, we're not legacy aficionados by any stretch.
No, we're not. Yeah. This is the sort of thing that I would not have been surprised if they already knew about it before the card was even printed. Surely somebody in Wizards went, oh yeah, this card and Lion's Eye Diamonds works really well together and whatever. Somebody would have known that, and they basically just go, yeah, they don't care enough about Legacy these days to stop them from printing a card, so they're just going to print it, and then the first opportunity they get, as soon as the deck becomes a thing, they just ban it, and that would not surprise me at all if that was the attitude that they go in with that sort of thing now.
Yeah, seems completely reasonable.
We did talk about this last time, where their primary focus is Standard because it makes them the most money, and in Standard this card is fine. It's basically not a card.
Yeah.
And in Pioneer, it's more powerful. In Modern, there's some potential turn 2 wins. So maybe they look at hitting it at some point there with that whole grinding station, Mox Amber loop that you can do with Emery and stuff, right? There's some pretty crazy wins that you
Apparently
can pull
it's
out
the new
there.
KCI, Chewy. You should get on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should ban it all then.
Just all 0 mana artifacts. Just ban.
Yeah. Okay,
Just
Wizards,
a
please.
million game actions.
Yeah, it says the cat player. But let's never print free spells or 0 mana artifacts, and the game will be in a better place. Really.
But they're fun.
They are. They're really fun. I enjoy them. I enjoy them as much as anybody, but... keep doing it because, we'll have content for our podcast.
I mean, I don't hate the mistakes. I like that they're kind of pushing it. I mean, sure, they've overshot massively by some of these cards. But I'm also glad that they're not just Hill Giants and Grizzly Bears anymore.
Yeah, that can get boring pretty quick.
That is true, but it's also, power creep's a thing.
Oh, yeah, 2019 they missed entirely, right? That whole year was just the giantest whiff of all time.
It wasn't power creep, it was a power leap.
Yeah, it really was. It really, really was. So it's I'd be interested to see if Ikoria follows the same. I know they've said that they will continue to make powerful spells or powerful magic sets because, they probably sell, so that's part of it.
Yeah, they're exciting.
Yeah, but I wonder if they, move the needle back a bit with Ikoria. We'll see how they go, I think.
Yeah, I mean, by the time they realised how powerful Throne of Eldraine and Theros was, Ikoria's already printed. There's no changing that.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we might be in for another year or so of really quite powerful stuff before they manage to dial it down a little bit. So
another year or so of banned and restricted announcements. Yeah.
Yep. Bring it on. I don't mind. We've discussed it before. I think it's good for the game. I'd like to see those powerful cards, and I'd like to see the formats getting shaken up because it keeps everything interesting. So
yeah, you don't want to have a stale standard that nobody wants to play. So
especially seeing as Arena is the predominant thing that I'm playing at the moment, and currently being only Standard, I'm happy for Standard to always get changed up. Quick
tangent. Did you see that tweet by the WotC staff person whom I can't remember their name? They put up a Twitter poll that was, where do you prefer to play?
It was actually Arena Esports, I think.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. It was either the official MTG Arena or the MTG Esports Twitters,
and it got taken down pretty quick.
Yeah, so they put it up and they had it as tabletop. So the two options were tabletop and Arena.
Yep.
and a bunch of people started voting, and then it got deleted, and then they re-put it up as tabletop and online play, which is probably what they originally intended. But then obviously,
no, they didn't. But someone pointed out the fact that they'd forgotten MTGO in both reality and in the vote. So,
yeah,
they're like,
a lot of people then put their tinfoil hats on and went, the percentages were coming out as people preferring to play in tabletop, so they deleted this post and then re-put it up again and whatever, and it's like, who cares?
Yeah, but then it ended up at like 86% prefer like tabletop. So I don't think that theory panned out. But anyway.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was
interesting.
Tangent. All right, so the rest of the stuff on the ban announcement, like Brawl, none of us play Brawl. I don't know anybody who plays Brawl, but apparently you can play Brawl.
Seth from Goldfish, is it like the only person I know?
Maybe.
It's because it costs you like 10,000 gold and you get to play like once a week, right? Isn't that how that works?
Yeah. Yep. And Historic, I don't know about you guys, but Historic I'm basically just completely ignoring until Pioneer is on Arena. It just seems like the most ridiculous format to have, and I don't quite understand what they're doing with their cards that they're releasing that are going straight into Historic, because they're releasing cards that aren't Pioneer legal. So it's not like they're just sort of backfilling Historic with Pioneer cards and then they're going to go, hey, here's Pioneer and we'll just scrap Historic now. So I don't get it, and I can't be bothered with it.
I would much rather them invest those resources into bringing Pioneer onto Arena sooner.
Yeah. I have a feeling it was one of those situations where people from different departments had different ideas, and people from the Arena department went, okay, we need something for people to be able to do with their cards once they rotate out, so that people don't feel like they've wasted their money on Arena. So let's start this format called Historic, and we're gonna just add some cards into it, whatever. And so that's an Arena person's idea, and then Organised Play or whoever else decides formats or whatever went, we're going to start this new format called Pioneer, and then all of a sudden it's crazy popular, and that was not part of, the two teams weren't talking to each other, and so now they're stuck with Historic, which they've committed to, but Pioneer is what everybody wants, so who knows with Wizards in the background, but that's the way I see it.
Yeah, if they put some of those cards in that they said they were going to, like Brainstorm, Bob, and Wormcoil Engine, maybe I'd be interested in playing Historic.
But that's not what they're doing.
They have not put any of those cards in, no.
No.
Anyway. Also, I don't think we talked about this last time. I'm not sure it had been announced. They're bringing Cube. Sealed Cube, unfortunately, to Arena. So quite keen on that.
Historic Cube, basically, right?
Historic Cube. So it'll be interesting to see what. No one knows any more than, hey, Cube is coming, it'll be sealed. And the truly sad thing about it, though, Phantom, you don't get to keep your cards.
Yeah, Cube on Magic Online has been Phantom forever. So anyone who's played Cube on that client for the last, 2 decades is used to that. But
that's because you can open Black Lotus in Cube on MTGO, right?
It's no different to the other events that they run on Arena, where it's here's 2 event decks and you get to play the decks. You don't get to keep those cards. So
that's true.
It's not a new concept on Arena either.
No, understood. No. But I did think that they would use this as the opportunity to start seeding people's collections for either Historic or Pioneer.
Yeah, and that may be something like Pioneer. They haven't even said when that's coming. Like, it's probably still a year off before we're getting Pioneer. Sure. So maybe as they start to get closer, they'll start to do Pioneer Cube, and you get to keep the cards and things like that, because it's definitely a good way to do it.
Yeah,
but
I think we need the priority for me, as from a personal perspective, is I would much rather see actual drafts, and the reason that they're doing sealed is, imagine trying to program a bot to a pick order with Cube.
That is impossible.
Yeah, exactly. So sealed's fine. A lot of people are poo-pooing it. I'm going to play it.
I'll play it for sure.
Yeah, I'll give it a go.
I'll wait for it to come out and I'll make up my own mind. But yeah, it's Cube. Cube is one of my favourite ways, one of the best ways to play Magic. But the drafting of the Cube is the most exciting part. So I'd be interested to see how different it is with sealed. We've done some sealed cubes, both with your Pauper Cube, Shorty, and my what do you call my cube? Kind of legacy cube equivalent.
Yeah. Non-powered cube.
Yeah, it was legacy.
Yeah. We've done some sealed on that when we haven't had enough players, and it's been fine. But the decks are different. You end up with just a Magic deck, not a specific archetype that you've drafted, and
Yeah, you have piles of powerful cards that are in the same colours rather than like a cohesive strategy that you put together.
Yep.
Yeah. Still a lot of fun.
We'll talk about that more when we actually have more details.
That is true. Actually, just as a quick aside, I have been jamming a bunch of those games for the one of the events. There was the Big Red versus the Clone Gary. I don't know if you guys played any of that.
No, I haven't played that much in the last week or so I haven't been playing any of those events.
Yeah, it was free, so I was like, oh yeah, why not? So yeah, it's been a bit of fun. Clone Gary is a blue-black kind of control-ish deck where literally your aim is to cast a Grey Merchant of Asphodel for as many black pips as you can and then like quasi-duplicate it, and there's that nightmare thing that lets you die and come back again. So yeah, it's... I played 3 Garys in one turn. Felt good.
Yeah, nice.
Did you guys see the draft deck?
Yeah.
Did you guys see the draft deck I shared that had Thassa and Gary? That was pretty sweet.
Yes.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to our next topic. So coming up next weekend. Next weekend? Yeah, that's correct. Next weekend, Saturday the 21st of March, we have another WPNQ. So it's basically a PTQ that's held at a store, which will be Games Lab in the city in Melbourne. So this is a local one for us. And I am intending on playing. I know Chris is also intending on playing. I know Chewy's not. I don't know if you are, Cracker.
No, I won't be there.
No. All right, so it is Pioneer. And that's our next chance. I think this is the last event for this season of PTs. So last chance to qualify for this round of PTs. So hopefully I'll make that top 8 that I need to get, or maybe just win this thing.
What are you going to play?
So I've been looking at deck lists all week, and if you've listened to this podcast and you've just started listening, I like to flop around and flip-flop what deck I'm going to play. Basically right up till the day before we play.
Yeah, you're the most indecisive person when it comes to deck choice I think I've ever met.
Yeah, which is funny because that's not how I am with every other aspect of my life.
Yeah.
It's just the total opposite. But for some reason I always like to keep my options open when I'm trying to figure out what deck to play. And if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you will know that by now. So yeah, at the moment, most likely I'm just going to play Dredge because I had fun playing it the last time, and I don't know, it's a good deck, and as we've said before, it's a good Game 1 deck, and then you just got to try and hope to win your one of your Game 2 or Game 3 matches, but I just don't know. Pioneer's it's a very diverse format. The Dredge deck basically has completely dropped off the face of the earth. It's not putting up any results, so it's every now and then it makes a 5-0 on Magic Online, but
it's probably a good time to play it then.
Yeah, and that's part of what I'm thinking. It's not going to be hated out. You always catch that splash hate of Rest in Pieces and that sort of thing. But
some people that lazy sideboard builders will just, I've got planes, I'll chuck in Rest in Peace. But there's also the Lotus Field deck. You need to have some graveyard hate for that. So you'll have some splash damage, but you just always board in your enchantment and artifact removal. What's that new one that puts the thing on the bottom?
Mystic Repeal.
Mystic Repeal, yeah.
Yeah, although actually I saw a list this week that was running Caustic Caterpillar, which
I haven't seen that.
I'd completely forgotten about that card. It's from Magic Origins. So it's a green for I think it's a 1/1 Caterpillar, I guess, but it's got pay one and a green. Yeah. Pay 1 and a green and sacrifice it to destroy an enchantment or an artifact. So
you can find it off your Drizzly Salvages, etc.
Yeah, and you gather the pack and whatever. So it's easy to find and it's cheap, so you can get it down early if you need to.
Get in some beats.
Yeah, you can just bash people with a 1/1.
I played that in my Mirren Commander deck.
Oh, nice.
So Joel's got one if you need it. So are they playing that in lieu of the Rex Age? Or as well as...
So my list that I'm looking at the moment, I think I'll probably play 2 of them and 1 Rex Age. Sometimes it's nice just to have that enter the battlefield ability.
Yep.
but there's no real reason for either one. I guess the Caterpillar is that it's a little bit slower. You've got to put it on the battlefield, and then potentially it can die before you get to use it, depending on your mana. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So most likely I'll play Dredge and give it a crack, see how I go. But I definitely spent some time this week re-going through my Jeskai Ascendancy deck.
Ooh. Do that again.
I was like, could I just bust this out? But the thought of playing that for 7 rounds is no, that doesn't sound like much fun.
But what if you win for 7 rounds?
Oh yeah, that'd be great, but still.
Someone who I won't name the deck, but someone who played a sort of intricate combo deck at some longer events, it's exhausting. It really is.
Like we just said earlier on this podcast, it's exhausting enough when you're playing a deck that's not that hard. So yeah, if you've got to take a million game actions and hope that you get there to win the game. No thanks. So
that's what I found when we were testing that deck. It was like you play until you're about to lose and then go, all right, I have to win this turn and just see what I can do.
Yeah, basically.
Which is a lot of fun for like a couple of games against your mates.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun when you're playing casually and there's no stakes. But
exactly.
When you're playing a tournament that you'd actually like to perform well in, that's probably not ideal. So.
Yep. And is the assumption that if Chris makes it to the event, he's going to play something with a lot of forests and something that puts a lot of them into play quickly? And
he'll be all in on his Lotus Field Breach.
Oh yeah, that's true. You might play Lotus Breach.
No, he's like when he put it together, he's like, I really think this deck is sweet. I want to spend a lot of time getting to get good at this. So
yeah, okay. Which is a shame because there's actually a mono green deck that's similar to what he's been playing in Pioneer for quite a while that's doing really well at the moment. It's basically the mono green Stompy, but it's running Khan the Great Creator and a full artifact sideboard. So four Khans, 4 Vivians, four Nisses, and then Jade Light Rangers and Voracious Hydras and the Mana Dorks. So
it probably wouldn't take much to convince him to change.
No. I might have to send him a list and see what he thinks. But, so that's Pioneer. Pioneer's, we're still expecting Dimir Inverter. There's still going to be the Heliod combo. Bant Spirits are still doing really well. Mono Black. So it's the metagame hasn't shifted that much, but almost any of those decks, you can pick up Izzet in Soul and still win. It's still quite a diverse metagame, which is good to see.
Put scissors on your gingerbread, man.
Yeah, despite having the Inverter being sort of the top deck, it's still pretty open, so that's good. So that is Saturday the 21st of March, so yeah, myself and Chris will be there, so keep an eye out on our Twitter for updates of how poorly we're doing. The next Good Games Premiere event, so the next big weekend like they ran in Melbourne, is going to be held in Adelaide the first weekend of April, so the 4th and 5th of April, and that event will be 2 days again with Modern Pioneer for that one.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have got any thoughts, if anything's changed since the last podcast on what you'd be running on in Modern. We've just sort of spoken about Pioneer, so I don't know if you'd run anything new.
With the banning of Once Upon a Time, I would 100% still stick to my guns with Eldrazi Tron. I think its worst matchup just got weaker. So, yeah, I'd take that and run with it. I don't know if that's the right call or not, but that's what I'd do.
No idea.
Yeah.
The other deck that was playing Once Upon a Time is your Devoted Druid combo decks in Modern. So they've been quite popular recently because, again, of that consistency of being able to find your combo pieces early on. And that definitely takes a hit. So I'm tipping that if you're a Devoted Druid combo player, it's probably not the deck to be playing going forward. Just losing. I've played that deck quite a bit myself, and sometimes you just literally do nothing. They just keep killing your Devoted Druids before you get to untap with them, and you're just playing Mana Dorks and doing nothing. So without that extra consistency that Once Upon a Time would be bringing, it's probably not really worth it.
Yep, agreed.
All right. The other thing, so we sort of mentioned at the start of the podcast with the old Corona that's getting around. They're actually been starting to cancel major Magic tournaments now. So I just saw this today, like literally a few hours ago, that they've cancelled the Magic Fests at Detroit, Sao Paulo, if that's how you say that, Louisville, and Palm Beach. So they're basically the next month of Magic Fest. So that's Grand Prix and all the side events and everything that they run there cancelled. And SCG started cancelling a couple of theirs. So they've got one on this weekend and next weekend, which is Baltimore and New York. They've cancelled them as well. So, yeah, we mentioned it before. Chewy's been loving / hating the hype that the coronavirus has been getting. But it was something that I definitely considered at the tournament we were at this weekend, that, you know, I was conscious of not touching my face. You know, like it's something that you kind of do a lot when you're thinking about the plays that you're going to make in your tournament. I know, Chewy, you're a classic with this. You're always
got my fist to my mouth.
Got your fist in your mouth, yeah. And you know, it just made me think, like, you know, as we sort of said, you know, the coronavirus is not going to kill you instantly or anything like that, but I don't really feel like being sick. And if this sort of thing's getting around, then, you know, I'm happy to take a few precautions. But yeah, I guess I don't know if it's Wizards or Channel Fireball that's made the decision to do this, but I guess it's probably not a bad thing, just while it's I
hope the wash up out of this whole thing is that, because the coronavirus is as transmissible at most as like gastro, right? So if you do all the things,
I don't want gastro either.
Yeah, gastro sucks, right? Yeah, but it's like you, for the vast majority of people who get gastro, they will feel a lot worse than someone who contracts coronavirus.
Yeah.
So, like, but all the things you do to not get gastro, like wash your hands and don't, you know, share bodily fluids and cough in people's faces and all the rest of it, just do that. And if we just did that as, like, humans,
society,
forever, as society, then, like, we'll all be better off. Yeah. So if you know, once this whole thing's, you know, run its course, I hope that we've all learned a lesson that, you know, like, if you go to the bathroom, take an extra 1 minute and wash your hands. Yeah,
I mean, you are talking about Magic nerds that can't even shower and put deodorant on before they come to a tournament, so I can understand why they've cancelled some of these events. They're not the most reliably hygienic people in the world, so probably not a bad thing. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame.
Our audience there, Shorty, that's really good. Yeah.
None of our listeners are like that. They're all, you know, high society.
Our
people
listeners are all class.
Clean beans. Yeah.
It's a bit of a shame that it means, you know, less deck list, less coverage, or all that sort of stuff. So
just join our Arena League and get your Magic fix that way.
That's right. Yeah. There is also this weekend, if you've qualified for it, there's a Mythic qualifier on Arena. So obviously that would be standard for that event. That's something that you qualify for, making the top 1,200 in either constructed or limited, which none of us have gotten anywhere near. But I believe a few people from our Discord have made that, so good luck to those who are playing in it. If I was playing in it again, or if I was playing it and playing standard again, I would still be sticking to Jund Cat. I'd probably be changing it up a little bit. I think Wicked Wolf its stock has risen, and I'd probably be slotting a few of those back in my deck. They're quite good at killing the... I've completely forgotten it's called, the Archon from Blue-White, which can definitely be a problem. So,
the 3/4 flying thing.
Yeah. So that's what I would be recommending. Chewy, I'm assuming you'd be recommending Jeskai Fires, but if you weren't stuck on Fires, what would you be recommending?
With the Bant and the Sultai mid-range deck, so the Uro decks, Fires has got a absolutely horrendous matchup. I saw a stat that at the last Magic Fest, not one Fires deck won against the Bant deck on day 2. So I actually think it's time to pack up your Fires for the time being and look for other options. And I think Jund Cat is a good option. I like the Sultai mid-range deck. If there's a lot of the Bant mid-range deck, you got a lot of the same tools, but you've got more removal and disruption. And for an aggro option, I've played 5 or 6 best of 1 games, but I'm enjoying the Gruul aggro deck. So
yep.
If I want to play
any thoughts on standard?
Chris played a really sweet blue-white blink deck, which was just
I'd never heard of that until you said that was what he played, and then now I'm seeing it everywhere.
Yeah, so Martin User has spent a bit of time putting it together. Dude, we've talked about it a couple of times before. It's playing Thassa and like Elite Guard Mage, which gains you 3 life and draws a card when it enters the battlefield, and you're playing Fibblethrips and just like a bunch of bounce spells and stuff, and you're just trying to accumulate a massive amount of value. So that was looked like a lot of fun to play. So I don't know whether that's like tier 1, but it's
how does it win? Does it just like nickel and dime in the air with the Guard Mage, or has it got like a big finisher?
Yeah.
Does it play like a Dream Trawler or something to just get the game done?
I think it does, yeah. I mean, cool. Lists vary, obviously, but yes, the Dream Trawlers are definitely there for some of it. But, I mean, obviously you can just get enough stuff on board to make Thassa active, and smashing with a 6/5 indestructible turn after turn is a pretty good way to get through. Plus, you're just gaining huge amounts of life and stuff like that the whole way through. So that was pretty cool. And I actually like the look from an aggressive deck of the Rakdos Sacrifice lists. I think that they're quite strong, particularly if you're going to encounter a bunch of Uros and you can steal one and then attack with it and gain some of your life back and sacrifice it and stuff. So I think those might be quite well positioned at the moment. Kind of has a bit more reach and a bit more versatility than the mono red one, perhaps. Still playing the cleave because you have to.
Yeah, believe the cleave, right. The advice that I would give, general advice, if you have access to white mana, play Glass Casket, because the popular decks out there are playing Uro, gets hit by Glass Casket, Krasis, again, hit by the Casket, and it's just generally useful in the aggressive matchups. But if you are playing a deck that has mountains in it, then have a look at the Crowan War Saga, where you can just
steal a dude for a couple of turns.
Yeah, so the sacrifice decks, if people are trying to go bigger than you, then take their stuff, bash them with it, and then sacrifice it when you're done. So it's they'll make sure you've got access to those cards, either main or sideboard.
Yep, cool. And if you want to get in some practice, join our Discord and get in some matches on the league.
Exactly.
Always comes back to that. Speaking of our Discord, I've been putting together a calendar for events that are being held in Australia. So all the major competitive like PTQs and WPNQs and that sort of stuff. So I'll be keeping that updated. I've done it for the major states where Magic's played. So yeah, you can jump on there and have a look, see what's coming up, so you know what's going on in your area, what format they are, and that sort of thing. And I also keep a list on there of the major like Grand Prix and arena events and things like that as well. So just another reason to jump on our Discord and make the most of the tools that you have access to. So yep, you'll find that link in our show notes or Twitter. So I think that's going to do us for tonight. I think we've gone for long enough and gone on too many tangents, so that'll do us. We'll just finish off with the usual things, all the places to find us. So, yeah, if you want to get in contact with us, you can send us an email, which is magicbeanscast@gmail.com. You'll find us on Twitter or Facebook at magicbeanscast. Or the YouTube channel. So if you search on YouTube for Magic Beans Cast, you will also find us on there, and you'll find Chewy's videos of himself getting smashed by people in our league. Jump in our Discord, get in contact with us on there. We love having a chat with everybody, and yeah, jump into the league and get some matches done. If you want to find me on Twitter, I am at Peace Inc. Chewy, you are
at Chewy MTG,
and Cracker
at Joel Hill _.
Very good. So that'll do us for this week. Thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next time.
Wash your hands.